So I used to feel like the white keys sound correct to me and the black ones don't. So I came with that guitar to the house. So when my grandfather saw that, for him it's an alien concept, like
Guitar.
oh, guitar, what is this? So that is when that call happened that, oh, your son has brought two guitars. He just exaggerated. And like, oh, what is he into? What is he doing? Was guitar be drugs and all that? It's like I was getting a high playing it. And then I learned the song. I was supposed to perform it over the phone. Like I was going to call a landline. I had a mobile, but she didn't have a mobile. So I had to call a landline. Her mom picked up.
Yeah, dramatic insan. He learned guitar from her. Then he decided, I will call her landline and sing happy birthday to her. Then somebody else is saying something to his future wife. He's going and fighting and getting suspended. Bande mein dab hai, yaar, that thing.
So he was like, okay, then drop out in the third year. Start off now, I said. How do you go? Yeah.
Pineapple Podcast episode 10. How often have you wondered how do you make money off Spotify? How do you make money off Apple Music? What is iTunes? What impact did Napster have on the music industry? What does a music producer do? What does a career in music look like? Today we get to find out when we speak to Ashwin Syam, a music producer who decided to make this his career at the ripe age of 20. His story is one you must hear.
Boom! We are live with episode 10. Mario, someone told me something very interesting.
Yeah, what
it has been 1 year. This is been 1 year since we started shooting, and 1 year later, finally, we have someone who I think I'm going to learn a lot from today. Because I'll tell you my biggest problem. When I was a kid growing up, I was a big Michael Jackson fan. So, in Michael Jackson's albums, I'm going to say something blasphemous. Some songs I didn't really like.
Okay.
Some songs I loved, like the Dangerous album, Given to Me, Dangerous, Smooth Criminal, fantastic song. Rest of them I would intentionally go to my tape recorder, press fast forward, get it out. Then I read Apple Steve Jobs for the first time. And I realized that now Apple Music, Spotify, everything is running on its own. Then I found out from a very good friend that I am connected to someone who understands the music industry.
Right.
So today I desperately want to understand the music industry from Ashwin, who's going to teach us everything. But I want to start with, you entered the music industry at 20.
Yes.
Walk me through that decision of entering the music industry at 20.
Okay. So basically for me, in terms of other musicians, usually many of them you would see that trajectory would be like they would be a child prodigy or something like that. They start very early, right? Like a lot of the South Indian households have classical music and all these things. That was not the case for me. For me, till maybe when I was in my 10th standard, I was like a normal person who just enjoyed music. So my dad is a huge Ilayaraja fan, and he used to do this thing of what do you say, on this Isai Arubi and Sun, like, all these talents used to be there, right? They come in music channels. So you would keep playing the songs there. You would ask me to guess, like, who is the music composer of this.
At what age?
From childhood, like 5, 6, okay, etc. So he would ask me who's the music composer, who's the singer. So I think as a child, that is what trained my ear, because I could tell this is an Ilayaraja song, this is an M.S. Vishwanathan song. So that's how I think
How can you tell if it's sort of Ilayaraja song or specifically
So an M.S. Vishwanathan song will be very melody centric and will have more of a percussive backing, but not much of an instrumentation in terms of
More drums, basically.
Yeah, more drums, more of the Tamil drums. It's in more folk drums and a nice melody on top of it. It will have a minimal arrangement. Whereas an Ilayaraja song might have the drums, but also he would infuse Western orchestral elements into it. And also he'll have the signature thing of he'll take it into an interlude, which will be like a completely different thing. And then it goes back into the next verse.
What's an interlude?
The middle section of the song, the instrumental, which kind of
Like
connects.
a guitar solo, something like
Yeah, anything. Any middle section which kind of connects from gear to gear. So I'm telling you all this in hindsight, but I think that's how I started like picking up, oh, like these are the things which happen and stuff like that.
In hindsight, do you think that by doing that, your dad indirectly set you up
100%.
for a career? Because
100%, yeah. One more incident I remember is, I think everything is in hindsight. That time you just, see, I used to be into sports. I used to play cricket, football. That was like my main thing. Music was not like something which I didn't even take any guitar classes, or I didn't have classical training, Carnatic, nothing. So But I remember this incident. I used to be the kid who would, after school, run back home and call all the kids to play with it. So once I had gone to this friend's house to call him to play, and I was standing outside the door, and he was having, I think he was also from Tamil Nadu. We used to stay in Bokaro in Jharkhand that time. So he was having this Carnatic training happening, and his guru was teaching him Sarega. So he was doing it in the harmonious up from outside. I was saying, Sarega. I was hearing that. And I was standing outside, I was like, oh, and then actually standing outside, I was also trying to sing along. This is like I remember in hindsight. So I don't know what.
Outside the house.
Yeah, outside the house. I didn't like knock on the door. I was like, oh, this is interesting. That guy is like playing it on the harmonium and he's singing it and he's repeating it. So I was like, I'll also try. Can I do it? So from outside, I was doing that. Then even like by the time I was in my sixth standard, etc. Like so, there's this toy keyboards, right? Like small ones. So I used to just like try playing, and I realized that I could, whatever I'm thinking, I can play it on the keys, the melody of it, like from my ear to this thing. But at that point, so there's white keys and black keys, right? So I used to feel like the white keys sound correct to me and the black ones don't, because that's a C major scale. So I used to just play along those keys, and in that scale, whatever I'm thinking, I am able to play that melody. So I remember that from the very beginning itself, it was there. But I never then went for like piano training and I didn't tell my parents also. They didn't even know. I didn't know okay, this much. Like it was like a natural thing probably because of the ear training or whatever. Then when I joined school in 11th standard, I went to Kerala for my, I was in a boarding school in 11th. So my friend had a guitar, that's where I picked up the guitar. So that's where actually the music thing properly started. Even, so I've done my schooling in many different places. First 10 years I was in Jharkhand. Then, so he had told no in the 3 years of So 10 years in Jharkhand, then 4 years we were in Mumbai, then 2 years in Saudi, then 2 years in Kerala. So in Mumbai, I used to study in this Ryan International School. So there it is like, what do you say, they have a band and all these things. So that's where first I actually saw people playing the guitar and stuff like that.
Okay.
Before that I was in Chinmaya Vidyalaya. So there it was more of, what do you say, very like Hindu.
Harmonium tabla.
I was a Bhagavad Gita, this thing, what do you say, chanting champion. Like I had the entire Bhagavad Gita by heart by my standard, fourth standard. Yeah. Now like a Bhagavad Gita prodigy. I'm good in everything. Yeah. Yeah. That
In Sanskrit?
In Sanskrit, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
How many languages do you know then?
I mean, I didn't even know what I am learning. Like I had the whole thing by heart.
Okay.
I knew maybe the meaning of few verses, but from start to finish, I knew the whole thing by heart there. Yeah. So that also I think maybe musically influenced because you don't learn just the verses. You yada yada hi dharmasya grame bhavati bharata. You learn it like a tune.
Yeah, we do.
So I guess that also probably influenced. But I didn't realize any of these things. So when I joined the hostel again, what I used to do was I did not know any chords.
Hostel in Mumbai.
In Kerala, in my 11th standard. So my friend had a guitar there. So what I used to do was I used to tell my dorm mates, tell me a song and I will just play the melody of it. Like with a single string. I did not know technique and also I just used to use my index finger and I would just play like this.
Did anyone teach you?
No.
Self-taught?
It was self-taught basically. That time I didn't have any training.
So you didn't know the concept of chords. And
No technicals. I did not know any technicals.
So then my next question, music, it's something that comes to you. You
Yeah.
get it or
Yeah.
you don't, right?
Yeah.
Like you got it the natural way. And then there are those who are like, oh, we have to buy a book, how to learn the guitar and play. This is the E chord, G chord,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So there's two groups. There's what you did and what they did.
I don't think it's two groups. Like it starts off initially like what I said for my case. The other group is then the training and then the skill sets you learn to express yourself better. But I think probably it starts from the stage when you're a baby itself. Like I know a lot of my musician friends who are becoming parents. During the pregnancy itself, they play like certain music, etc. And probably all that influences. So I think for me, my dad's love for music influence. He was not a musician, but he loves music. So small things you pick up. For example, for him, if he's heard all these Ilayaraja songs and Ilayaraja is a master. Like if you just study his songs, that's it, you're set. So I remember I used to notice we'll be in the car and in the first 1 second, the first note plays and he'll do this song. So stuff like that probably as a child it influences that, oh, it's so cool that he's able to pick this up. So maybe I should also pick it up. This is all I'm telling in pure hindsight.
So 11th standard, you picked up a guitar with one string. You're able to do a melody.
Yes, yes.
How does it continue from there?
So then after during that time my love story and all that started. So like most people to impress
Your wife?
Yeah, yeah.
You met her at 11th
Yeah,
standard?
yeah.
Wow. Okay,
That's a long love story. Yeah.
So before that, why is it that people who want to start learning music become the guitar? You know, there's so many other instruments. There's the piano, there's the mouth organ. But but it seems to be like I want to learn music. Where's the guitar? Why guitar?
Guitar is a fairly simple instrument to pick up. It's portable. You can carry it everywhere. Piano, the problem is, it's more of like in a certain place. Obviously you can move it around, but you have to first set it up to the thing. But guitar, you can play it anywhere. Guitar is considered cool, right? Because of years of this thing. That time, now I think, I don't know how it is like, but rock music was still the dominant thing. So rock music is built on the guitar. So that cool factor was always there. And most people think it's cool, like if you play the guitar, you impress the girl and all.
And if
For me,
you go to a party,
it'll be cool. Like if you play the guitar, that is like a normal thing. But my case, I just enjoyed the sound of it and I could play the notes. I did not know the chords. So I started learning the chords because I was like, okay, I want to learn this song and I want to sing it to her. So for that,
It was the first you learned on the guitar.
it was called, it was by this band called All American Rejects. It was called Mona Lisa. It was like a love song. Yeah.
So All American Rejects did the soundtrack for American Pie, right?
Whether I might have in there, I'm not sure. Yeah. So that was the first song I learned. So that was when the grandfather story had happened. So in the hostel, I would just play notes. I just used to like this, like tell me any song. If I know the song, I'll just play the melody. But
This is whose guitar? Your roommate's guitar?
yeah, my dorm mates. So we were 10 of us in one dorm.
Does your dorm mate play guitar?
Yeah, he was a
Did
guitarist.
he teach you anything?
No, I didn't ask him. Maybe few basic chords, like how is this chord, and it was a Christian school, so they had this book called Strings or something, in which all his Christian songs were there, and in that the chord charts were there. So in that it was like it was shown how to hold the thing and all that was there. So he just told me the basics. Okay, this is how you read the chord chart and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So he showed the basic, maybe later in the show I'd show you some other chords, but some simple chords which any beginner can start off with. So he showed me those, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is how it works. And then from there, I just took it forward. So I was like, okay, which are the simple songs which I can learn? So I saw this song, I used to like the song. I like the lyrics of it. So I'm like, okay, this is something I can play. So I learned that first.
And you played it to
To my wife.
How did you guys? Were you guys speaking or you randomly went
Because
outside
it
and
was
asked him?
one-sided from me that time. So yeah, that's also one story. But basically, I was a shy kid who, if I would have a crush on anyone, I would not tell anything. But one of my friends basically ratted me out and told her before itself. So a lot of stuff happened. And I remember one of the summer vacations. It was the after 11th, the summer vacation time. We were going back to the house. So when we were the hostel, only the second Fridays or something, second Saturdays we could go. So my grandfather used to live near the house. So during the summer vacation, my friend told he's not gonna take his guitar back home. So I was like, oh, can I take it? So he was like, oh, no problem, take it. So I took it with me. So I came with that guitar to the house. So when my grandfather saw that, for him it's an alien concept, like
Guitar.
for guitar, what is this? So that is when that call happened that, oh, your son has brought 2 guitars. He just exaggerated and like, oh, what is he into? What is he doing? Because guitar need drugs and all that. Yeah. So that is what that happened. But during that vacation is when actually I started learning the guitar from. Until then it was just I would play the melody. It could translate. But I started actually checking YouTube tutorials how to play this chord.
YouTube tutorials, 11th standard. What year was it?
2011.
2011.
Early would be wow.
So I'm guessing by then you realize, or is it before you realize that you're going to have a career?
No. That time I'm not thinking about career.
It's just fun.
It's just fun. Okay. It's just fun. And I'm having fun. So I was practicing a lot. I remember the initial few days and I practiced a lot and my fingers were bleeding. But I enjoy. I was like, but I'm having fun playing it. It was like I was getting a high playing it. And then I learned the song. I was supposed to perform it over the phone. Like I was going to call the landline. I had a mobile, but she didn't have a mobile, so I had to call a landline. Her mom picked up. Yeah.
Did you realize it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Her mom picked up, and then I told it was a birthday. I wanted to play for her birthday. Yeah. So did the whole thing. I was trembling and I was playing. Yeah. But that's how I started off. And by the time the vacation ended, when I came back to the hostel, I became better than the guitarist who was there. I learned so much in that 1 month. I played that one song. Then after that, I just got at high. So I learned a lot of songs. He was kind of like, he had did for many years, but different people have different this thing, right? So for him, he was like, okay, I'm happy with this much. Na seat hai. But for me, I was like, oh, okay, I want to learn more, learn more, learn more. So I went back. And then after, I just kept playing the guitar. So that's how.
When did you buy your first guitar?
So I got my first, it was a gift from dad only after my exams,
Well,
after 12 boards. So till my 10th standard, I was a very good boy, no problems.
really was. You were which bad boy you are now?
Now I'm good again.
अच्छा.
वो 11 12 पे पूरा थोड़ा rebellion phase था basically.
Okay.
So till 10th standard I didn't have any complaints etc. Then we joined boarding school. Boarding school में you have your freedom. Oh, then we had a blast. I got suspended. A lot of things happened.
What?
Yeah. That also is like, I know some guy was saying something to my wife. So लड़ाई वड़ाई हुआ बहुत कुछ.
क्या romantic इंसान है. He learned guitar crash. Then he decided I will call her landline and sing happy birthday to her. Then somebody else is saying something to his future wife. He's going and fighting and getting suspended. बंदे में दम है. I suddenly realized this. Very good, very good. Where what happened?
Yeah. So where were we? So basically after
You just got suspended and then you bought your guitar.
So basically the expectations for me during my 11th and 12th studies तो खत्म हो गया था. बस हम फुटबॉल खेल रहे थे, गिटार प्ले कर रहे थे. That was the only thing. So the expectations were very low. I thought my dad thought he's gonna fail, etc. But in the last 2-3 months, last moment I studied, got 80%. So they were over the moon. 80% तो कुछ नहीं है normally.
Yeah, you don't just study and get 80%.
नहीं मतलब कि लोग सब 95 ये सब कहते हैं.
I'm so sorry. Go on.
But
Must have been horrible for you. No, I would have.
till my board exams, I did not pass a single this thing. My report cards were just red. Even my prelims, I was at some 20.
And then magically went to 80.
फिर
Nothing, there is ऐसे ही कुछ
3 months, I just didn't do anything. I just studied like that's all.
ऐसा बोलो.
हाँ, of course. ऐसा थोड़ी ना होगा. थोड़ी ना मैं कोई genius हूँ.
So then
3 months I just studied. I got 80. Then after that, he was over the moon. I was like, okay, guitar खरीदो. So guitar नहीं है वैसा. That was my.
But when was the first official conversation? You look 12th हो गया, गिटार भी खरीद लिया.
हाँ.
मुझे इसी में career. Okay. So
Career
before
अपनी-
you have that conversation, did you know what kind of career options are available to you in music?
No. I'm not thinking about music as a career. During my 11th and 12th, I'm thinking I want to become a footballer, actually.
Okay.
But by the end of 12th, थोड़ा दिमाग like okay, I'm good at it, but I am not good enough to be a professional footballer.
But were you even playing football during this time as much as you were giving
My
to
main
music?
priority was football.
But were you giving as much time there as you were giving to music?
Yeah. I was giving more time for football. Like for football, I would wake up at 4 in the morning and practice. And
And you would run.
Yeah. That time football was like life, and music was something which I really enjoyed. It was more like a hobby at that point. I was not thinking in terms of career or any such thing.
Great. So you had you had a backup option.
Not a backup. Like at that time, I'm not even thinking career ke bare mein. I'm just enjoying school. No, I guess the kids nowadays are much more. What do you say? They think much further ahead. They want to sing. I was like, I'm happy playing like football. I'm happy playing music.
Usually, at least in my case, what that happened was in after 10th itself, the discussions had started. कि IIT class जाना है क्या?
So in my 11th, 12th, I was in biomaths. So I could go for engineering also if I want. I could go for medicine also if I want. I could do water. And commerce, as a science student also, you can join commerce. So it was the most flexible course.
So were you thinking on any of these lines, or were you like, what is all this thing?
So one of my friends by 12th standard, he put this idea that let's do BBA, let's do marketing. BBA marketing करेंगे. Christ College है Bangalore में. You go there. I was like, अच्छा ठीक है, okay, cool, we'll go there. Then my wife, that time, like not girlfriend, that time, what do I call?
Wife,
Wife, हाँ. That time my wife was, she was 1 year my junior. So she was like कि after my school I'll come to Bangalore. I was like, ठीक है, तो मैं Bangalore जा रहा हूँ. So this is how my college decisions were made. So my friend put that idea, let's do BBA marketing. So I applied in Christ, basically. I got it. So
Which year were you in this?
2012 to 15 batch.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's another story. I got there and then my wife ended up going to Mangalore. So that's thoda flop ho gaya.
As in she
Didn't come to Bangalore.
did come.
She was supposed to come there, but then she got a college in Bangalore. Yeah. So anyway, at that point of time, initially in 11th, I thought maybe I'll go into engineering. No, I didn't want medicine. I didn't like biology as a subject. I actually liked maths and physics. So, but I hated chemistry. So, but by the time 12th ago, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. BBA at that time, the idea was because I want to do my business. Like that, the mindset was that I don't want to do a job. I want to do my own thing.
When did you first have that thought?
More like that. Yeah, 12th standard also.
First time you said I want to.
Yeah. I don't want to do a job. I don't want to do engineering. Go for that thing. I was clear about it. So I thought, okay, I'll go for PB. Joined around. I think my first inklings of okay, there's something else happening apart from playing the guitar is by the end of 12th, I started composing my own songs basically. So maybe like 1.5 years, 11 to 12th mid or something, I was playing covers and stuff like that. But
When you say composing your own songs, are you saying you were playing the guitar in front of the camera, recording yourself, or even more background, your
No, like-
sound, everything?
just literally composing as in literally you just play something and you're creating a tune.
Okay.
Creating a tune. It's like
You were creating tunes. Okay.
Were you playing at any of these spots, at the bars, the pubs, places?
nothing. So just by myself in the room.
You recorded these tunes?
Yeah, on the phone. That time I don't know anything. I don't know how to record on my laptop or
Any of us saw them? Any of you showed it to anybody?
No, I didn't show my tunes to anyone at that point. But people knew me as a guitarist and all by then. I had started performing in the school. Yeah, that I had done. We had done this Onam festival was there, so we did this. This is a band called Avial.
Yeah.
So we covered Narana.
Loved that song.
So that's when I graduated further, like from more basic things to like Avial is a very tough band to cover actually.
Is it true that the Avial, the lead singer, actually plays all the instruments in the background and they're
Not singer, the Rex Vijay and the guitarist is the brains.
But he plays all the instruments.
Yeah,
That's
doing
true.
everything. Yeah.
That is insane. Avial is like,
Everything is set.
just hear that one song, Nada Nada Sivood, and you'll be surprised how the song even starts. It sounds like it starts with sitar or something. Suddenly it goes insane.
So it's fusion mix of
It's Indian rock. It's typical Indian rock.
Indian rock, lot of elements.
It might have been one of the first Indian rock. So Indian rock, I think, started for me with Agni.
Yeah.
Agni, Parikrama, Avial. There's a band in Bangalore, Swaratma. Evergreen. Evergreen, White something. White, I forget the name. I should remember. But these were the bands that performed there.
Avial is a huge influence.
There's another band in Bangalore. Not sure you heard of it.
Tamil Nadu.
Thermal and a quarter. No, guess what?
I got it from
You guess where the origin of the name comes from? Thermal and a quarter.
I don't know.
Thermal. 3 Malayalis. a quarter.
Yeah.
Quarter.
They're also
One
Christians.
person. So I'm a express.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in Bangalore, good indie rock scene, massive inspirations from Avial.
Yes.
So what happens next?
So basically, I moved to Bangalore. I continue writing my songs. There I meet my classmate who ends up being a bandmate. He's a vocalist. And we meet on the first day. We bond like, you play the guitar, you play the guitar. Okay, let's form a band. So we form a band.
He also plays.
Yeah, he also plays the guitar and he sings. So let's form a band. Then my roommate, his name is also Ashwin. He was in my school. So we became flatmates in Bangalore. So Anant and the vocalist name is Anant. So me and Anant used to jam in the house. And then he also, the other Ashwin, we call him Shanky. So he got an interest in playing the bass. So he became the bassist. So we formed a band there, basically.
How do you get an interest to play the? So
It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Why would anyone like to play the
I
bass?
don't know. You have to be someone crazy to be a
Because
bassist.
when you play it with nothing else around, you play the bass. There is nothing fun in that. At least in my head, why would you want to play this?
Yeah.
But then when you put it in a band, it makes sense.
It's very important in the context of the band, yeah. But individually, I don't know how.
I mean, imagine you and someone are jamming and
Yeah.
someone's watching. Dude, I'll play bass.
Even I was surprised. Yeah.
So, okay, 3 people. When you say you're jamming in the house, do you have equipment around you or is it just normal?
So my first guitar was an electric guitar. So I had my electric guitar and I had my amp, a small amplifier. I got to which one also. One small on cube, the thing. So Anant had an acoustic guitar, and Shanky after a few months bought a bass. So our house was one tech room in the corner in Kodamanga. So we called our band that room in the corner house.
So for the benefit of everyone, can you at least elaborate on the types of guitars we have? You have bass, you have.
So acoustic guitar, electric guitar, bass. I think is it.
This is acoustic.
Yeah, this is an acoustic.
So a band should have at least these three, right?
Not necessary. Like some bands don't have an acoustic guitar. It's like two electric guitars, a bass. Like a balanced sound would be maybe a guitar, acoustic or electric, bass, drums. It's actually enough. That is enough, and then you can have keys over it. Yeah, so many other elements. Lot of things can come.
So you didn't have drums?
No, we didn't have drums. So because acoustic guitar is playing the rhythm, so the rhythm is covered. I would do more of like how basically I would do more of leads and support the thing, and Shanky would do the bass. Anand himself would be singing it. So we used to jam like that.
Performed anywhere in Bangalore?
Not so that time the shows in terms of pubs and all that was way lesser. Like the scene is very different now.
Yes.
Now I think college kids itself start off, but that time only these guys, Thermal and the Quarter and all. I had seen their performance that time. That's when I discovered them. So we did in college. There was these college festivals and
So Christ has a caller in
Darpan in the lower.
So they had these festivals with people.
That was our avenue to perform. But we didn't again play to perform. We played because it's just having fun. It was a fun thing. But around this time, in college time, is when I actually got serious about music. So again, in hindsight, when we were kids, what do you say? On Windows, there was a sound recording application.
On
That's
Microsoft
it.
Windows.
Basic simple one.
Yes.
I remember one
It
of
was
my
a silver color thing with
right,
I remember.
only one right
Yes.
record button.
Yes.
So one of my friends I remember had told me that time, like I just remember this now when I was a kid, maybe second or third standard, if you plug your earphone into the thing, it acts as a mic.
Yeah, I wish I did that. But okay.
So he told me, so I was like, oh, okay. So I remember that time I used to just like play around with it. Just like how any game I think I used to play around with it. So now fast forward to I'm in my first year of college. We are jamming our songs. Anant himself had already composed quite a few songs of his own.
Okay.
He was a pretty good songwriter by then itself. Naturally, again, no training, etc., etc. I had just started off with maybe I had made some tunes, maybe some original tunes of the guitar or some this thing, and mostly whatever songs I was making were love songs for Christina. So then after that, there was this actually one teacher played a big role. There was this English teacher. We had additional English as a subject.
School?
College. So she actually was spearheading this English fest called Adroit. So she saw our talent and she was like, okay, why don't you both make an album?
You and
us. Yeah.
Okay.
We're like, cool, we'll do it. So we had 5 songs, three songs composed by Anand, 2 songs by me. Composed and written by us, all English songs. So now we have to record it, how to record. So that is when I started figuring out, okay, how does the recording process work actually?
All self-taught. You.
Also on YouTube on it. So I first started on the very basic Audacity and all these things, Audacity and Ableton and all
I don't know any of these things.
So these things are called they'll be using for audio editing and stuff like that. So these are called digital audio workstations, DAWs. So in that you record a thing, you'll be able to isolate different tracks. So you don't need to record everything in one book. You can isolate each element. You can record the guitar separately, vocal separately. So then you have more control over each element and you can do it like that. We didn't have any mic, nothing. So I had a Lenovo laptop. We didn't have even like dedicated headphones or anything like that. So how we recorded was, you first record one element. Then the next element would be recorded while it's playing back from the speakers itself, from the laptop speakers. So the bleed from that would come into the next recording and stuff like that. So very amateur.
Is this what happens when we hear people? Sometimes you see people recording and they have these headphones and they are listening so intently to what they've played, and it's like every vocal, every sound they make, they want to ensure that it's 100%.
Yeah, when you're recording, usually you use these headphones which are closed backs, so the sound won't leak outside. So that in the mic, in your headphone, you'll be able to hear everything, the instruments or whatever, but then in the mic, only your voice will be getting recorded. So then when it comes to the software, then you'll be able to control each element. So if you want to tweak something in this, it doesn't affect the instruments, stuff like that.
So when you create an album, you go through this process.
Yeah.
But when the album is released, then you actually play, if you get called to play in concerts, that will be the actual first time you'll be playing
Like
outside this performing
yes,
outside.
yes.
So that's why
It's two different
Yeah,
worlds.
Two different worlds.
Yeah, recording and live is two different worlds. So anyway, we what do you say? We tried out
5 years.
We tried out these Pythons. It was very amateurish recordings, but to us it was sounding great. Then after that, we got them printed on CDs. So we got those. We used to get what type of pitch metal.
Yeah.
Boza Beram. All this used to get. So we got them printed on them. Then went to a printing shop, made some random poster, and then we printed on CDs. Printed 5 CDs. Took photos with picture of the Bella album and gave one to the ma'am and did the whole thing. We performed the songs also for the fest.
Okay.
So this was our first time actually like, oh, okay, this is how you record it. But it was very amateurish, no mic and all, laptop recordings. But we figured out, okay, oh, you do this layer, etc. Then again, how maybe I knew how this thing works is because I'm a huge Linkin Park fan. So Linkin Park used to have these documentaries about how their albums would be made.
Yes.
So I had seen all of them before. As a fan, not because I want to create, but in that they show actually like how they're going about it. So maybe inherently I just knew, okay, you have to do these things. I don't know is it the right way or wrong way, but we were doing it. So after that is when we started like, okay, we can do this. During the vacation of that first year, from first year to second year, I was not going back home. I was in Bangalore only. I was bored, nothing to do. In those 2 months, I was like, okay, I want to actually learn how to properly, how does production work? How do you produce music? How do you record this whole thing? So then I saw a lot of YouTube tutorials. Okay, this is
Walk me through your day. So in these 2 months, you're sitting, you have...
I'm only doing that.
So you wake up in the morning, you're switching on your laptop, on YouTube, and you're sitting, eating, drinking.
Yeah, really, like seeing how it's done, then I'm taking my guitar and just practicing the guitar the whole day. I'm learning some solos.
That's all you did.
That's all I'm doing. I'm doing nothing else. It's just obsession. It's just pure obsession.
Yeah, it's pure obsession.
Yeah, so I was just...
Commitment, actually.
Yeah. No, not... I'm obsessed. Like, I don't even know, oh, the day is over. Now let's sleep. Khatam. Like that.
Food, everything was... You were just...
Dude, I... Many times, even now also, when
In fact, I think my editors are now about to yell at you. I think you're keeping on touching the mic. So they're probably getting us clarification.
No, but-
Too far. They just avoid touching. But other than that, so massively obsessed.
Yeah.
2 months. So how does this... In 2 months, how much did you learn?
I learned ins and outs of like, okay, this is how the whole process works. I produced a bunch of stuff. Then I became good enough that, okay, now we can start.
Hold on, are you saying you produce, it was using your laptop?
Laptop, yeah. We didn't have the setup, the equipment with us, but I understood, okay, this is how the whole process works. So these DAWs, the very basic,
What are these?
digital audio workstations.
Okay.
So the basic ones like Audacity are fine, but when I tried out all the different ones. I tried out Ableton, I tried out Reaper, like this many other. So each one does the same things, but in different ways. Kind of like for video editing, for what do you say, Avid, what is it called? Premiere Pro,
Adobe.
Adobe Premiere Pro or DaVinci or whatever. So they got all these different softwares are there. So I was just figuring out, okay, this is how things work. By the time Anand came back, I was like, okay, now we can actually make our demos. We can record scratches. So then I started making some of my own songs also, then putting them on SoundCloud and stuff like that. So by second year end, I was obsessed. That is when I started thinking, okay, I think this is what I want to do. Because I was not sleeping. I was all night, I was just producing music. I was sleeping in the class afterwards.
Oh, okay, you started...
Speaking in the class,
In Christ.
Christ
Yeah,
College.
yeah.
That wouldn't have been easy.
Yeah, it is not easy. But we need attendance now. So I would go to the class.
So,
You need 85% attendance there.
so tell me, how about the father's taking to...
So he saw the worst rebellion already 11th and 12th. So उसके बाद everything was...
they are talking about the Christ College
Christ fathers. I think it became okay. Like BVA, the block is little further away. So it was not as hardcore maybe.
So actually, in my time, they had a lot of rules about how you come dressed.
Yeah, that all was there. See, full sleeve, clean shave, button still here. It used to be like that for 3 years.
Okay.
Complete.
What happened to you?
No, once you do that, after that you will never do it again. I didn't wear formal clothes for a few years.
I used to wear, we had to wear ties.
Yeah,
Post graduation, we had to wear.
you always wear full sleeve till here.
And they would walk in the corridor to see if.
Even for women, there was, you couldn't wear kurtis. You had to wear what lehenga? What?
Yeah, you couldn't wear jeans, you ladies. They had a rule, and people objected to it. But I think
No tight leggings also like that. They're so strict. The rules there.
But they were encouraging the.
The crowd is
arts.
really good.
But at least they're encouraging arts, which is good. I mean,
Yeah, the crowd is really amazing there, but everyone is like feels like they're stuck in jail. But Bangalore, so after 4 o'clock you can do whatever you want, so it's okay.
So now you've decided that, okay, this is something you're very seriously exploring.
Yeah.
Now walk me through that, okay, you started exploring. The first question when you start exploring is, how can I make money off this?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you make money?
So at that point, I didn't know how we're gonna make money. I was like, मेरे को ये करना है. I'm gonna get really good at this. I was not thinking about money or basically. I was like, I want to do this. I want to spend my time doing this and paisa aa jaye. I was in that mindset. How do you want me to answer first? What was then or now? Like now, anything
However
you
you
want. Huh? I was initially, since I was doing BBA, I was thinking I'd be doing an MBA and all those things. So I remember the conversation with my dad about this was in my second year. After the second year, we were in vacation in Lunar or something like that. So I was actually scared. By then I was thinking, my dad was thinking I'm going to go for MBA. So I was actually scared to tell him that what I'm thinking, maybe I'm going to do music full time. I remember during a Muda thing, like all hours I went to my door, I need to tell something, I want to pursue music. So he was like, okay, then drop out in the third year, start off now itself. I was like, no. It's not course khatam karta hu. I was like, okay, wow. So yeah, he was very chill about it. For me, I remember yeah, I was like, drop out, drop out. Yeah, he was like, drop out. Why do you want to waste time? Abhi se shuru kar lo na. Like,
I'll tell you one side story. Just to add to this, when me and my wife first met in college, we didn't want to tell our respective parents that we were dating. But what we thought is, our placements will happen. We'll get a job. We are different. I'm Tamil, she's Gujarati. I thought it'll be an issue. It'll be nice and tell them we've already got a job. We don't have to worry and all that. So when we went up to our respective parents and we said, okay, look, I got a job. She got this is I'm in love and all that. My parents said, why didn't you tell us earlier? Because we thought we'll get a job. What does job have to do with it?
Right.
Hey, what does job have to do with which who
that time,
well,
yeah, you're not thinking.
exactly.
You're
So
not
I can
thinking about it.
relate to that. Okay, drop out third year.
My dad said, drop out third year. I was like, sir, as a course earlier I completed. So even in my third year, I have not gone fully. I remember then the placements came. I was in marketing. So I was clear that I am only going to, if I have to sit for placements, I'll only join a creative company. I don't want to go for any of this. Some investment banking companies also came for marketing grads also. So I was like, I don't want to do any of that. So I only sat for one, which was Viacom 18. So because Viacom 18 is producing films and all that, I was like, okay, that is still somewhere along the lines of things which I am enjoying. I sat for that. Luckily, I didn't get through. So then I was like, oh, okay, now I'm going to do music. So third year ended, and then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to start looking for music school. So before that, I contacted a bunch of Indians, like legendary musicians who are in the English scene, environment also from Black Shirt Tours. I must have messaged everyone, Vishal Shekhar, सबको मैंने Facebook पे message डाल दिया कि hey, I'm the student and I'm thinking of getting into music full time.
You sent a cold message to
I sent a cold message to everyone कि what would you like suggest or something, because I don't have any mentors or anyone, right? So just to understand like what to do, what are the steps, how do you become a musician, do you have to go to music school, can you learn from somewhere else? So I think Parman Nolsal actually replied.
Wow.
He replied back to that. He had told that if I remember clearly, he had told it's not necessary for you to go to a music school, but yeah, it can give you a formal this thing. But when you go to the school, what matters more is the musician friends you make there, stuff like that. He gave some solid advice. And one more guy who was very actually pivotal. Someone always puts a scene into your mind, right? So there's this friend of mine, his name is Suprati. So he was 2 years my senior in Christ. He was a drummer that time, and he used to be active in the college band and stuff. So in our first or second year, we had performed our own songs, and we had competed with this band. Their band was pro. They were really good. We were amateurs. We had just started. We were making some songs, but we are not that good. But I remember we had won the best original song category event, and the other band obviously won the best band and all that. So I became friends with Suprati Clever. We were having a chat on Facebook, and he was also this thing that I'm going to go into music full time in order to do something. I think he was starting to think about going to sound engineering. So I remember we were having this conversation, and he was telling everyone when you tell you want to go to music full time, will you be A.R. Rahman? But सब लोग को AR रहमान थोड़ा ना होता है. Like if you're going to become a doctor, do people tell you're going to be the best doctor in the country? Like there is a space for everyone. So we had this conversation. So I remember that also was an influence on me. So Pratik is one of the top sound engineers in the country right now. He is the sound engineer for everyone, for Pratik Punar, for all the top artists. He's done with everyone. Taki Ali.
Have you heard Blaster Fuse?
No.
I'll after this show, I'll play a few songs.
Legend.
Fantastic music. When he said Blackstripe Blues, I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
he
that
playing back. I was like, wow. That's the beauty about social media, you know. You can just send a message to anyone and you never know, you might get a reply.
No one from Blackstripe Blues replied to you as friend.
Blackstripe Blues is one person, Baron Mendoza, that's it. It's his project, only him. So that was like big deal. We had attended his concert, I remember, in 2014. So
Shout out to what's his name?
Baron Mendoza.
Varun. I didn't know his name, but I've heard Blackstripe Blues. I think for about 5 or 6 years of my life, I love Blackstripe Blues. I'll put the song later on there.
Yes.
But okay, so he mentors you.
That's the blues.
Uh-huh.
So he mentors. So Pratik mentors you that there is space for you.
Yeah.
You have already told your dad you want to move to music.
Yes.
And you have now you've decided no place.
Yeah, khadam,
So and now who else replied to your cold calls?
In fact, just before that also, I remember so we had to make this thing, right? The CV and all these things
Yeah.
when applied for companies. So my CV was a headphone. I made like, it was a headphone shaped thing with all the details and all that. So I was in that mindset already then. Like,
Hey, send me a photo.
I will. It was actually
I'll put it up here.
It was actually pretty cool. I was like,
Yeah.
we were like thinking in that point of view. Even when we were in marketing, we had to make these ads and all that during some of our assignments. So I was enjoying doing that. I was directing the ads, others were shooting it. But I was doing that so that I could make the music for it. I was enjoying that whole process. So for me, the highlights during the marketing part was these things, making the ads. Or when the fests were happening also, like I remember for there was one thing called Brand Me or something. There was one, task. There used to be these fests and you have group task and individual task, marketing, HR, blah, blah, blah. So I had this thing called Brand Me where I had to brand myself. So as a part of that, I had made a song. And one of our tasks was, so some seniors, they would be told to be all haughty and you have to basically somehow make them approve whatever you're doing. So I stayed up all night, made a song, then sent it to her. Like, see, I made a song. This is about this some topic. I don't remember. And they were impressed of, okay, bande ne pura gana bana diya ek college assignment ke liye, like that. So that was the mindset we were at. So I remember there was another placement where I hadn't put my name. But I don't know, somehow my name went in, so we had to go. I don't want this company. It was actually in school, this is Evolve Back is there, right? This resort, Evolve Back Resort. Before it was called Orange County Resort.
Okay.
So they had come for some placement. My name somehow went there. I want to get out of it, but once the college, I think, sends the names of the people, you can't do. I mean, you can't back out because it's bad for the college. Right? So I went there. The guy saw my CV. He's like, "What are you doing here? This is an headphone. Like, what do you want to do?" Hey, actually, I don't want to be here. I told him upfront, I don't want to be here. College told me to go at them. Like, okay, cool, bye bye. Yeah.
So tell me, what was the peer pressure during this time? You know, you were in a class with people who are doing BBM, right? Bashers.
Yeah.
So you probably may have had friends who were like, dude, what's going on with you?
And
Yes.
friends who are making a lot of money back.
Making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Dude, we are here. You're
It is
there.
tough, that big.
So
I remember clearly when I joined Christ, I realized that this is not my world. Like you realize like where you fit, right? So I felt I was average. Like in that world, I'm average. That is not my world. That is a very distinct feeling I got. That is what made me clear that I'm not. I knew, see, the type of person I am when I was in school. If the teacher is, when they give out the mark sheet, all the kids run and they go, "Ma'am, ek mark, आधा mark ऐसा." Like, जो मिला है हो गया. I'm not going to go to the teacher and out and give me extra stuff. So, same way when you go into the management school role, you know you have to be a kiss ass. You need to do certain things. I didn't want to do that. I was like, ये नहीं है मेरे अपने. So at that point itself, I was very clear that I am going to do something on my own. But one of my teachers gave a very good advice also. It was a little, you're brash, right, when you're younger. So the whole mindset was, I'm going to do my own thing. I'll be my own boss. So he had told me, bro, there is always a boss. If you don't have a boss, then your customers are your boss. Like there will never be a stage where like you are going to be this thing. The secret with you will be answerable. So at that point of view, actually that makes sense. But
Very good.
yeah. So but yeah, by the time the peer pressure part of things at that point, and maybe now after you grow up, it hits more, right? Because you see everyone making more money or all those things, like people buying cars and all that. But I was very clear that time. I said, I want to do this. This is what I love doing. There's no other choice.
Never bothered you mentally.
No.
Okay, this guy is whatever.
And that time though I was more idealistic. I was like, अरे मैं poor भी हूँ तो चलेगा, मुझे यही करना है. That way.
How
you
did
don't have any-
Christina react to this?
Christina was okay. Like she expected probably. Like she's seeing like every night I am just working all night. We are doing long distance that night. So we used to do maybe 1 or 2 hour phone calls. And then all night I'll be up. I'll be up till 6, 7 in the morning. And then after that I'll go to college, I'll sleep there. So she just saw it coming. He's this guy is obsessed. He's just continuously doing this only.
Was she also in the same arts line? Or?
No, she's a PharmD graduate. She's working at Pfizer right now. So she's in a, but she used to sing. But yeah, she's more in the medical that space. But yeah, I think it was expected first.
So tell me, how did you get your first gig? What was your first gig like?
Wait, I think we fast forwarded. So you're here now. You decided, okay, these guys have replied to you.
Nah.
So we'll get to the first.
Now I'm like, okay, gonna go for music school. So my friend Supratik, he was going to London for his sound engineering. So I thought, should I do sound engineering? But I love music production. So I was figuring out what are the courses available.
What's the difference? Sound engineering, music production.
Sound engineering is more actually technical. It's more scientific. Basically, it's more about sound. It's not just related to music part of things.
Okay.
It is everything, like it how speakers are set up. All those things also come into sound engineering. Music production is purely like music creation or how that was. It kind of, some places they overlap, but sound engineering is a purely technical course. It's an engineering course.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was thinking what to do, checking out the colleges. That time, the amount of colleges in India were lesser for music. The biggest ones were KM, AR Rahman's in Chennai, and TSM in Mumbai.
Okay.
So I went to TSM, to School of Music. I applied there. Then the options abroad were Berkeley and all that, but they were super expensive. So that was not feasible. My friend had gone to London. Again, I felt going abroad was not feasible.
What's the fee structure here, Mumbai, Chennai?
Mumbai, it was, I remember my first year fee was 4 lakhs. 4 lakhs. But if you would go abroad, you would have to spend minimum
4 lakhs, what year?
2015. Yeah. That also, what I did was, so I did a deal with my dad. He was like, so already between us we had discussed, so he had already thought कि I'm going to do MBA. I was like, मैं आपको सस्ता करके दे रहा हूँ. 4 लाख का ही course है. And some extra capital से we'll set up a studio in the room. तो हो गया, उसके बाद खत्म. Now no more financial listing, but उतने में setup हो जाएगा. So actually it was a cheaper deal for him that.
So you set up a full sound with full sound thing?
Yeah. I still use that as my studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Set up our own space there. So he told clearly, like I think my college ended in May. He was like, don't sit around for a few months now. Straight take the admissions, join. So I think June I started. I started in TSM. It was a great experience in terms of.
What does the curriculum of a music school look like?
Actually, whatever they teach, you can learn on YouTube, I feel. Everything. So when I went, especially in my first semester, whatever they're teaching, I already knew. I had already learned by myself. And especially now the content on YouTube is so much, like there's so much there. Before maybe it was little lesser. Now the quality of content is also really high because a lot of the people who professionally produce this put out stuff for free out there. But there were some things which music school was very helpful in. That is how to work with clients is something which music school taught. So we used to have, music school, I think we had music production as a subject. History and business of music was a subject. Music theory and one word, not only. So history and business also is something which you can learn yourself. But then when one person who kind of studies that and tells you, that is really helpful. For example, how blues music started, how the influence of that has gone into other genres and all. So when you learn those things, it gives you a perspective about, okay,
Yes.
we are just used to listening to music for ourselves, right? But how the history went, how things have happened, how genre classifications came, all these things I learned there. Music production, initially it was the basics, how to use this particular logic, basically the MacBooks are GarageBand by default.
Yes.
Logic is the upgrade to that.
Okay.
So that's what I use now. So how to use it, how's the ins and outs of it. But then as you kind of advance in the course, some of the...
So 1 year course?
It was a 1 year course which you can do the second year also. I just did a year, basically. So when I went there, in the first semester, whatever they taught, already I knew. It was the basics of how to operate and stuff like that. All that I... By the second semester, they started doing these assignments in which every week you had to make a song in a particular genre. So 1 week would be you have to make a blues song, 1 week you have to make a jazz song, 1 week you have to make a rock song,
okay.
1 week you have to make a BDM song. Because when you're working as a producer, you can't just stick to one genre. Otherwise, you have to specialize in one. I'm only known for
So
this.
here's the thing. To join this school, you should already know how to play an instrument properly.
Yeah, if you go in already knowing your basics, it will be very helpful.
I mean, you need to know at least some instrument, right?
But there were some people who did not know anything also, and over the thing they pick up. But
So
if you're
it's double work, then they have to learn the theory and they have to pick up.
yeah, if you already have your basics right, then you can make the most of it, basically. So these assignments were very eye-opening. That was my biggest. Still, I feel that has been the biggest eye-opening.
Sounds so interesting. So,
Yeah,
did you hear jazz music before, or was it the first?
little bit, but yeah, I did not know anything.
Like for me, I still don't understand jazz.
Yeah,
But I'm guessing I'm missing something.
So they will tell the basics. Okay, if you use these kind of chords, it will sound jazzy.
Oh.
If you use these kind of things, it will sound loose. If you're doing house music, it should be in this tempo. Around this tempo, it will sound like a house song. So they gave this basics. This like a disco song. This has the basics, like the kick and snare pattern have to be like this. So these things, these pointers you.
So this is what you call theory. You said, right?
Yeah, these are the technical, the
theory of music.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. These are the things which is the craft which you learn over a period of time. So when I went in, I'm completely raw. Like I'm making the kind of songs which I enjoy. Mostly, I think it used to be like my style is very like gravitated towards ambient pop. I love ambiences, so most of my music was I'm making a very
What does that mean? Ambient pop.
So pop is actually a very
Yes.
vague term. Why I say pop is because like when you say rock, you know there'll be electric guitars, etc. In pop, it's open-ended; it could be anything, but it will have a set structure. Like it will not be very complicated. It will not go into very unexpected territories. So that's why I say pop. Ambient because I like to use a lot of soundscapes. Like the way I imagine my song is, if you have your eyes closed, you'll be transported somewhere. You'll be able to imagine. So I kind of use a lot of random sounds as building blocks, apart from instruments.
Sound of a cricket.
Yeah,
Like, or
yeah,
ambulance,
yeah.
something
But
like that.
not just that. Sometimes also I don't know, maybe some guitar sound is there. I would just isolate one part of it, reverse it, do something to it. So that will become something, some weird sound. But it will work in the, maybe all random things, but it will create like a picture. You'll be able to close your eyes and imagine you're somewhere. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, usually I think I was more gravitated towards making slower songs. But when I went here now, okay, make a disco song. Never thought I'm gonna make a disco.
Yeah.
So then they thought, okay, these are things you can do. Then you bring your own spin to things, okay?
These assignments, you have to create it, or they create a team.
No, you had to create it by yourself.
So how many students in a classroom?
I think around 10 to 15 were there. So
All 15 every week individually have to create.
have to make the thing.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, those assignments were really amazing because then at the end of the week you had to present it in front of the whole class and then you would be graded based on whatever was the parameter.
Well, you would get graded.
Yeah, it's like assignments.
So you got like a degree from that school.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was a diploma. Now it's a degree. Now it has been converted to a degree. That time it was a diploma. But it doesn't matter. Like the degree diploma part doesn't matter. So in terms of learnings, that was something which was really good. But I think in a music school, the main thing you get is the people there. The people, the friends you make there, the network. All of those guys have come in there. At that time, they're just beginning. Now, by this stage, many of them are big artists. Many of them have become... So now in the current space, like this girl called Ambika Nayak. So she was my batchmate. Yeah, then Osho Jain. He was my batchmate.
Okay, but I'm looking here because my editors are like,
Yeah, the younger folks, you know.
Okay.
So all of them were just normal people walking around that time. So when I'm friends with all of them. So that helps. That is the biggest. That time you don't know. That time is just a bunch of random people who were just hanging out making music. But over a period of time, those relationships become like a big deal. So that is the key takeaway. If you're going to music school, network a lot, talk to everyone, be friends with everyone.
in music school, they teach you how to make money off music.
Yeah, we had a music business course also.
So walk me through that. What happens? So let's just jump in. But
How,
do you
how
make
the
money?
music business works. Okay, so for me, I'm more of a studio musician.
Okay.
So what do? Basically, I compose songs. Composing a song is essentially just, it can be as simple as you just humming a melody,
Okay.
a new melody. That's composing. A basic idea creation is this thing. So the process for that, how it works is you have your phone. Whenever you're getting an idea, just record it. Okay, so you have it now with you. Then afterwards, you can just take it and see how to refine it and stuff like that. That is when you bring the guitars or whatever instruments. That is a production part. The production is when you have your basic idea and now take it towards the final output. That is a music production. So I do that. I used to write lyrics before, but now I've been more focused in these things. So for me to make money, majority of the ways it happens is when someone hires me as a music director. So I did a Telugu film. So they would basically
Name of the film.
Nidare Ni Katha.
Check it out. That is fantastic. We'll include a link maybe.
Yeah, I did the title track and the end track of it, which was an orchestral version of the title track. So in that, like they'll say, okay, this is a situation of the film, make a song. So in that, I composed it. I already did the music production as well. So that is one avenue to make money as a music director. So in a smaller scale, it will be for short films. A lot of filmmakers, etc. They would want background scores for their short films, etc. So there you are credited as a music director or as a composer. Second is as a music producer. A music producer is the guy who basically helps bring the vision of the composer to life. So many of the, like, if you take music directors also, like Vishal Shekhar or whatever, Shankar Asan, they would hire a music producer as well, who knows the technicals, the ins and outs of how each instrument works, how things can sit together, how to present things.
Okay. In my head, I'm still not understanding the difference between sound engineer and a music producer.
Okay. Do you want to tell you the process from Sagar, like how a song works?
Okay.
Song. Initial idea could be maybe something I strummed on the guitar and I sang along, or maybe I was walking around, I got the idea, I recorded on my phone.
Okay.
So like this, in my phone, there's thousands of song ideas. You get these song ideas anywhere, and there is no explanation to it how it happens. Sometimes you feel like a song has also come. So that's why a lot of people, I also watch a lot of interviews. So a lot of composers, they say like, God sent it to me, or they say that I don't know, some higher power. So I can relate to that, because what happens is you don't know, it's just coming. But after it's there, if you don't record it instantly, you lose it. It's gone. It just comes in a flow and you don't know where it's coming from. So I record all these ideas. Then maybe once a month or something, I go through these ideas. Now I've forgotten each thing. At that time, I kind of sort out of these ideas which are the ones which have potential, which are still sounding good to me. So that goes into a separate folder. From there, then you kind of start figuring out, okay. And when I compose anything, already, even if there's usually no lyrics to it. It's like sometimes gibberish, sometimes it's just coming. I already kind of have an idea. The song is about this. I get that picture. So when I'm naming the song also in my voice notes, I write it like I kind of describe this. So now it's a raw idea. I input that into my DAW. And then I start building out, okay, so this is the melody which is there. Then I figure out, okay, a structure. I'll have an intro, I'll have a verse, So this process is where the music production has started. So this is called arranging, where I'm figuring out this is the skeleton of the song. This is how it's gonna be like. So I start doing it. Then after that, I start building things around it. So, for example, suppose I feel like it's a love song. Okay, I'm gonna have guitars. I'm going to have drums. I'm gonna have bass. I'm gonna have keys. So then you start filling out this whole thing. Then that is done. So this part is the recording stage where you're doing all the things. All of this is done. Finally, the song is ready from start to finish. And you will have all these individual layers. You have your vocal layer, your guitar layer, etc. But these layers work well musically with each other. But still, sonically, they will not be sounding perfect like your finished product. Because when you're arranging also, the kind of chords you use or things you use, it has this balance, this push and pull. Where suppose if the drums is doing a lot, then the guitar will not do a lot.
Got it. Okay.
Right? So you are musically balancing things. But frequency wise, things are not balanced, as in the human ear can hear from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Now we are entering the sound engineering space. So this is a whole spectrum where you can perceive sound. each instrument has certain frequencies where their fundamentals lie.
Okay.
So, for example, a bass guitar, etc., will have around 50 hertz to 100 hertz, 120 hertz, etc. A human voice will have from 200 hertz to 1000 hertz, 2000, like basically that range it will have things. Some of the high, like a cymbal of a drums will be a higher frequency, etc., etc. So all these different sounds have these frequencies which are the fundamental, but they have some other random frequencies also along with that, which are not really required. Which in the individually it sounds good, but when it all comes together, you just need this, but this is also coming, but this other instrument needs this, but it's clashing with this of the other part.
The music producer solves that.
That's the mix engineer's job. Music producer also maybe does little bit, but then all these different files go into the mixing engineer, and then that person essentially, basically, I wouldn't say you can perceive music in three ways. Let me try explaining it like this. You can think in terms of frequencies. You can think in terms of distance, how close or far it sounds to you.
Okay.
So you're having a headphone on. And you can think in terms of width, how far left, right it is, or how central it is. You have this much control over it.
It could be here,
Yeah.
or it could also be here.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like panning is a very common thing. Like some songs you would notice that a sound is only coming from here.
Yes.
Right? Some song you might notice sound moves also like this.
Yes.
So we have control over stuff like that. You have control over also when you close your eyes, is it sounding like it's up front? It's sounding like someone is like singing here, or if it's behind.
Yep.
And the third thing was the frequency part to
Yep.
control. So to give an example how it's controlled, if you want something to be side, you can use pans. If you want something to be up front, you would compress it really hard, which I'll explain compression what it is later. If you want something to be behind, you would increase the reverb. Because when the reverb increases, reverb is essentially the
Echo.
sound of a space.
Right.
So the bigger the space, the further away it sounds from you. So you have so much control over all these individual elements. So after the musicality part is done, the arrangement production, it goes to a mix engineer. That's what he's not thinking in terms of music. He is thinking purely in terms of sound. How do I make this sound the best it can?
Yep.
So he's tweaking all these parameters and then finally making the whole thing sit together properly. After that, there's one more process called mastering, which is also an audio engineer's job. Most of the audio engineers nowadays do both, mixing and mastering together. Mastering is, now this song is sounding amazing on your speakers, on your studio speakers, etc. But now how to make it sound consistently good in the TV, in the car,
That's why you hear that mastered by Doggy Digital, and that's what that means.
in the radio, all these things. How do you make it sound good everywhere? So they try to, again, many parameters, very complicated, many parameters are there, but they try to basically get at least 60 to 70% of the song should sound, 60 to 70% it should sound what it is. The
Let
file
me ask you one question here. Is this why so many people say on a vinyl and a gramophone
sounds better.
sounds better? Because there is no mix up, there is no mixing, because all the gramophones are the same. So the sound is curated for a gramophone.
That could be the case, yes. That is definitely there.
Okay.
And MP3s already compress the sound. Like MP3s are a smaller file compared to what like a wave file of a song would usually be 60-70 MB, and MP3 is 8 MB, so it has already lost some data.
So the mixing and the mastering is what sound engineers do, right? So
Yeah, so that is in the post production
Production, yes.
stage. But there's something called recording engineers also, who are the ones who know kind of what the work they are doing also is somewhat recording engineering, where they were setting up the gain levels and stuff like that, right? So the recording engineers know which are the best mics, which will suit a particular voice. A mic could be a really expensive mic, but it's not necessary that the mic will work perfectly for every voice. So your voice is like a bassy voice. There's particular mics which will accentuate that. If a mic is known for being very warm and bassy, it might not work on your voice. Maybe you need a mic which has a bit more treble in its input, so that it balances out your voice. Otherwise, it might sound too bassy if you use a mic. So, like this, a recording engineer knows very well which mics work well for which this thing, then how to set it up. It runs through many outboard gears, there's compressors. They know their equipment in and out, and also they know how to work. Like you're doing this with me, right? How to make a person comfortable before the podcast starts. So all that also comes.
Sorry about that. Don't reveal on camera what we did.
No,
We
no,
don't-
no, that's okay.
I'm joking.
Joe, to take up on this, getting you comfortable, right? So, and this is something I've always wondered, okay, to do with music. I know I'm going off topic here. When a concert happens, we start a concert, a band comes and says, we set up. That setup sometimes takes half an hour.
Yeah.
We need to tune our instruments
Yeah.
and then they come early. I mean,
Yeah.
so I've always asked myself, why can't they do this
Before
showing
That's
up?
what happens
And
nowadays.
why do they show up and then take everybody's time? And, they're tuning all this up, and people are there waiting, and it doesn't start. And then I'm like, what are they? Is there some they have to match the frequency of the entire system there? What's the deal? Why does this take so?
I think most of the top bands now have a sound check beforehand itself.
Okay.
What I know from my artist friends is the first song, the audience crowd doesn't know this, but the first song is also where a lot of tweaking is happening. So the band chooses the first song as a test sort of a song also, where by the end of the first song, the live sound engineer who's mixing the thing live, will have gotten everything sorted.
Excellent.
That happens.
So what?
Is there also a reason why they have cover bands playing before the actual concert?
No, that is pure, I feel, hype building.
Okay.
Because the crowd comes before, that it also gives an opportunity for an opening act. It creates a nice system where, like now, this Dusty Brewer is opening for Coldplay, right? So it opens up a huge audience for.
So again, let's come back. What does a music producer do? Finally.
So now, suppose you are a composer. So you have made a tune. The tune has lyrics or whatever. This is there. But now you don't know what is the best way to make this tune sound like a proper song. So you come to me. You give this tune to me. And then I discuss with you, what do you intend? Like, what is your intention? So suppose it's a love song. So what kind of love song is? What kind of genre you're looking at? All these things. And then I will execute. I will create that whole thing.
So you will do the
The entire instrument. Yeah, this whole thing is set to it.
Okay.
So actually music producers are very underrated. They put in a lot of the musicality and stuff into the song. So a lot of the top composers produce themselves also. So A.R. Rahman back in the day used to produce, I think, his own music. But a lot of the composers hire music producers. And there are certain music producers who are like Jack of all trades, so good at multiple genres.
Rex Rubin.
Exactly. Rick Rubin is an interesting example. Rick Rubin is, he used to be a more technical music producer in the early days, Def Jam Records,
Yes.
that time. But later on, he became more like a guru, like a motivational this thing. As I told, it's like he can always hire more technical people under him to do the stuff, or he can hire the best studio and get that. So right now I think he's at the stage where he's just trying to bring the best out of the artist, which is also, yes, a music producer's job. If you come to me as a composer, I am like at second opinion who will be basically telling you can do this also. You could do this also. And I can tell you a clear path. If you do this way, then it will go like this. But if you do this way, it will go like this. So I am the person who's going to help you execute the song which you want.
You have to run for a Coldplay concert. So I want to fast forward to something that's very interesting to me because I don't understand it.
Okay.
Historically, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but historically, artists put a lot of rubbish songs into an album, put one or two fantastic songs, and then they sell the entire album as a cassette. At least that's what used to happen with, yes, I used to buy cassette tapes, and I used to always fast forward to hear that one or two songs that I want to hear. Now arrives Apple Music, Spotify. How do you make money off Apple Music and Spotify?
Correct. So I'll tell you, like from historically speaking, how things are moved. This again, that music history class may be you have to know. Okay. So everything is cyclical. So music also, record music started in 1900s, 1920s, 1910s. That's when first recordings, that's where came to be. But I think until the 1960s, recorded music was not an industry as such. It was still very live music away. So what used to happen was people would tour in different cities, and there used to be these jukeboxes and all that in the AC. So people for free would give their songs in these jukeboxes.
Correct.
It should become the marketing for people to find out about your song, and then when the artist comes to this thing, they'll go for the concert.
Jukebox also records of na, where vinyls of
Yeah, like those things, though, where like you can press multiple buttons and some
it's a vinyl that's
Yeah. So basically, that is how artists used to make money. Or if you look behind, even before, artists used to make money because royalty was kind of sponsoring that. Because that was been the thing. So what fundamentally changed was by the time this vinyls and all these things started becoming popular, that is when his recorded music industry started really growing. So until then, live music is the main thing. Everything else is like a marketing towards them. By 60s, I think Black Sabbath and all those types, that is when it really started picking up, especially going into 70s. And that time even the technology-wise also, the kind of mics which were coming, everything was growing parallelly together. So around this stage is where the record labels became a major force in the music industry, because at that time you need a business which will be able to ship these things. There's a physical object which can be bought. So you can't just directly do it yourself. How will you have the factory? How will you have the inventory and all these things? 70s, 80s, then after that from the vinyl. Also, I'll just get to how album ka concept itself came to be. So vinyls would only hold a certain amount of songs. So it used to be typically the 8 songs.
Yeah.
And EPs were the smaller disc which would maybe hold 4 songs. So it became a structure that basically side A, side B, that 8 songs here, it's because of the way the physical format was. The point I'm getting at is always art, music, art, everything has always gone hand in hand with technology, with the way the tech is. So when that moved to cassettes, so that time now you could hold more songs in it, but still this format
That's biggie 30 songs in a cassette? Maybe?
I think so.
Yeah.
What do you say? This format has been created though, so the remnants of that format is still this day. That's how the album format came to be, right? So cassettes came, then series came. Series 1999 is the peak of the music industry, basically.
Why?
So like you were getting to it, right? You were saying that an album would have maybe 10 songs.
Right.
Out of that, 2 or 3 other series. So initially, the entire album would be sold, but obviously everyone wants to listen to that one or two song. So the model was, what labels did was, first of all, they created this genre classifications. Genre classifications has a racial history also to it. Essentially, blues
Is black.
is black,
Oh.
jazz is white, soul is black. They created this thing. So radio also played a huge role. When radio became the distribution medium, so each radio station is catering to a certain audience.
Right.
So they create this genre classification will cater to this audience. This is the black people, they are more marginalized. So this is the kind of music. White people, jazz. Rock became the protest.
Correct. Yes.
Then that after a point of time that protest from rock, it moved to hip hop in the 80s and 90s.
Mostly hip hop has been black though, right?
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Hip hop, it kind of the trend reverse. Someone like Eminem had to be like, I am white, but I can also be a rapper.
So is pop the unifier?
Pop has always been the mainstream. That's why pop is just popular, popular music. So pop has always been the one which will be targeted to the most amount of people.
So across
money.
genres.
Yeah, across. Yeah, pop, co-ops, everything.
Did anything like this happen in India? Any racial undertones, any segment undertones? I can't believe it because
No, Indian music system is different because Indian music system is so film centric.
yes, how that
In the West, it is like music industry is a separate
bands. Yeah.
The films would take songs from the thing, they would license the music. In India, the whole music industry grew in tandem with the Bollywood actually. So that's why this whole playback singing, the whole copyright system, everything is very different in India, the way things work here. Like if you look at copyright in India, it is given to the composer and the lyricist. But in the West, there is no such concept of lyricist and all that. The songwriter is a songwriter, he writes the song.
Yes.
Basically. So anyway, the labels started like creating these classifications, and that time the way it was, an artist if he's really this genre, you can't really do the other genre. You're known for this. Oh. That's why very few artists cross over. It is this is a crossover artist, like that. So many things factors were there. So fast forwarding, we reached the end of 90s. This is the peak. The series were selling for like in the US $40 or something like that. Very high prices, right?
Even the piracy started happening on.
And then that was a Napster. Napster comes and completely demolishes the music industry. So I'm not sure about the figure, but I think the music industry revenue was $50 billion or something in 1999. It has only matched, or it has been lesser since then, even till today.
For people who don't know what Napster is basically a P2P sharing service where multiple computers are connected via internet. So if you have a song
and there's another computer, those guys don't have the song, they can just download it from your computer and start listening. So you don't have to purchase music anymore.
And there is no one you can catch because multiple people are having the copies of the songs. So you can't pinpoint that this person had it.
Did you ever have Napster on your
So I had LimeWire.
Landline, same.
That's the generation.
I knew people who had them, but there was always the risk of your system getting.
Yeah, virus.
Give you a fun stat. The guy who founded Napster, he's the person who gave Facebook its name.
Yeah.
Facebook, the name came from the guy who founded
On
Napster.
social network, they show, right?
Yeah, he's also there. So you know that gets you. So Napster came. Then
So Napster comes, it completely destroys the model of music industry because until then, if anyone wants to listen to music, they have to buy the album. They need to buy the physical thing, but now it's digitally available. So the biggest blunder the record labels and the companies did that time was instead of figuring out, okay, that let's legitimize this medium, they try to push back.
yes,
They try to sue.
lawsuits and all.
I think Metallica was.
But in fact, Lars Ulrich from Metallica led a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So people went anti-Metallica for a short duration. They're like, how dare Metallica go with
So they did a lawsuit. Now, someone from my generation, I'm 8 years old that time. Around that time is when I'm getting access to a computer and stuff like that. So for us, it was a great way to discover something.
Yeah.
We grew up with that. And our music is just available like this. For free online, it's there. Right? The previous generation is what was used to music. Used to be part of like buying CDs or gifting someone a mixtape and all this was like a romantic gesture and stuff like that. Right? So Napster comes. It takes a good 2 years for Apple to do iTunes. Right? Apple realized that, okay, this thing is there.
Okay, before that. How was Napster making money? It was giving a free song.
It is free song.
So the whole agenda here was just to break the music.
No, just
So it was never supposed to be.
It's a file sharing.
It was a file sharing
service, right?
They started sharing music.
You could share anything.
It was like, yo, you create a Word document here, and man, I don't want to print it out and give it to you.
To be there.
Here to influence it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was no file usage restrictions. People are like, dude, I can send a Word doc, I can send a music file also. And they started sending music files to each other.
Yeah. So so Napster comes in, the entire model breaks, and then from there the revenue starts sliding down. iTunes comes in, and iTunes brings in this concept of before, if you like, typically an album would only have 2 to 3 good songs. Rest are filler. It is just to fill up space. Actually,
Yeah.
They have been given a mandate. You have to make these many songs. Or less, some could be great. Some they are. How labels work also, the contracts work is they have time stipulations that by this time you have to have these many alerts, yes, that's up there. The mechanics of how usually a record label deal works is the label gives an advance amount, like suppose they give 50 lakh rupees. So you get your 50 lakhs. A lot of people are unaware. They think, okay, paisa mil gaya. No, in that 50 lakhs you have to make your album and you have to do it. It's up to you how you spend the money. But that 50 lakhs is a loan. It is not just being randomly given to you. So what happens is if the album doesn't hit a particular amount of sales, you have to give back the money. Such pressures are also there on the artist. And also if the album hits a certain amount where their money is reboot, after that only the artist will get the revenue. And
Pause there, compensate.
all the stipulations are there. And the record labels basically get this money at a very low interest. So it's like a high interest loan to the artist, essentially. That's what's happening. But because an artist struggles to get the funds, so record labels become like the banks. Okay. And also they used to provide A&R and support. And
What's A&R?
Artist and relationship managers and all that. So basically guide the artist. This is how you brand yourself. Label would work on the artist to make them a star, essentially.
So for a band who was in the 2000s, right? Let's say they get like 50 lakhs, and then their album crosses that. So they are
Like a multi-platinum.
But what about the royalty? Do they get any royalty as part of this deal?
Yeah. So again, the system in the US and India is different.
Okay.
I think how it works in the US is the artist gets like 10%.
5% from?
The royalties from whatever is called whatever income.
Apple will pay 10%, Spotify will pay 10%.
No. Okay. So you have your song. This song is now. I'll get to Spotify, Apple later. In that context, let's keep it simple first. Like CD is being sold or whatever. So from the CD sales, they get 10%.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. 90% is kept by the label.
Okay.
But that 10% also they only get after the label has broken even.
10% of revenue, 10% of profit.
Revenue.
Thank
Your revenue, not profit.
Thank
Revenue, yeah. Or could be profit also. It is the most predatory it's the most predatory environment basically because everyone wants to be a star. Sabko they want to be big and labels know that a lot of people are there. You're not the next person I can go to. They were in a position of power. So a lot of that deals.
So then, artists should have been happy when Napster came, right? Because they were getting a sour deal from labels anyway.
I feel like I'll get to this. I feel like in the nutshell we have moved from a time where you didn't have any freedom or you didn't have any way to express yourself unless you were with a label because all the distribution channels are controlled by them. And now we have reached the other extreme where there's too much. So there was a sweet spot in the middle where it was awesome. And I think now we are moved into too much. Both are having their pros and cons. That's what I feel. I'll get to that more later. But essentially, so iTunes comes in. iTunes basically now starts giving away singles. Instead of now having to buy the entire, what's your favorite song? You can just outright buy it. So now the system changes. Now it becomes this thing, okay, you can actually, when you're having an album come out, you have to promote the singles more. One thing also which I didn't touch upon was, so radio came. So after vinyl, radio was the next big thing. After radio, the next big thing was video, MP. So Michael Jackson and all were in the MTV era. So in that music videos became a boost. That's why Thriller has such a long music video and all. It's like a short film.
He was on in the Zombies on Thrill.
So when iTunes does this, right, was for each single they sold, was that deal via the label company or directly with the artist?
I don't know about iTunes, but Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Music with the Apple, Spotify, a lot of these labels have a stake in Spotify. Yeah.
So there's profit sharing among all artists, right?
There's a big inside game happening. So, okay, let's move now. From iTunes, that is there till 2008 and so. But already people got very used to pirating. So I don't know, when I grew up, how we were exposed to English melody was advanced. We used to have a CD coming in. सबके पास कैसे ना कैसे तो CD है जिसमें it's the same set of songs. Backstreet Boys, Venga Boys, Linkin Park, ये सब. I know somehow most people got in the same space. But LimeWire also, I became a Linkin Park fan like that, and I think Linkin Park were one of the few bands at that time who understood the power of piracy also. That actually, yeah, we might be losing sales, but this is creating a fandom,
Yes.
which is paying off now. Like for me, when Chester died, it was the biggest hit, and now Linkin Park has come back. I know they're coming. Ticket मिले ना मिले, मैं concert में जा रहा हूँ.
You are? You want the new music?
I love it.
इतना मजा नहीं आया, honestly.
It
Right.
is. I love this thing also.
अच्छा. Very let's
So, you did like a later Linkin Park, right?
I heard the new song.
Huh.
I didn't. Maybe it's just not. Maybe I'm still stuck in Chester.
Yeah, they also told, okay, like, some fans will take time to process. It's okay. Like, Chester is Chester. Again, since maybe because I'm producer, I can think more open.
What's your favorite Linkin Park song? If you had to pick one.
Fate.
For me, Crawling.
Crawling also.
And I love. I can listen to Crawling even today.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Anyway,
it has to leak. So let us focus. So we're fast forwarding now. Everyone is used to piracy. Linkin Park is using it.
Yeah, they use it really well. They use even social media. That time it's not fully there, but still they knew how to connect to their fans. Spotify comes up with this streaming model in 2008 and 9.
Okay.
That again creates a fundamental shift in terms of how people are going to discover music and how it's going to be. So till Spotify comes in, the music model is album and genre specific. So that's why the fans at that time used to be very vocal about their genres.
Yes.
If you're a rock fan,
Yes.
pop sucks.
Yes.
So when I was a Linkin Park fan, I would not listen to pop. 2000s का जो भी pop hit गाना है मेरे को पता ही नहीं है. I never bothered listening only. So my wife also sometimes says कि this song so big thing. मैं सुना ही नहीं. It was like a taboo and नहीं सुन सकते. I was only about automatic ऐसा. So Spotify comes in and they change the model from albums to playlists.
Yes.
And that creates a fundamental shift in listening. So before it was more artist centric, more genre centric. Spotify comes in and they tell, okay, we are going to now push songs through algorithms. So before, if you need to discover songs, either you can hear it on the radio, you hear it again and again, and you can hear it on TV with music videos. These are the two main things. Spotify comes like, okay, it's gonna understand your music taste after you do the thing, and that it is going to now suggest songs to you. So what that did was, now you could be a song of crawling. The next song is suggested you won't be in your parks. It could be some other bands.
That's how I discovered Bloodywood. I was playing Agni and Parikrama. I was reminiscing on it.
It was come next one.
And they played the G Veere from Bloodywood immediately next. I'm like, this band is awesome. And now I have like a list of Bloodywood songs.
So over a period of time, what that made was, it kind of, from the audience perspective, the investment to the artist reduced. It became investment towards particular
How are the
songs.
artists making money? Spotify is doing this. How's the artist making money?
Currently, the model is, again, it has gone back full circle into the older days where people consider the music which they put out as the marketing to the live shows. That is how majority of the artists make.
Live shows are an object.
The royalties from the Spotify and all these things are minuscule, especially in India. The royalty rates are not consistent across the world. The royalty rates depend on basically how much money people are paying for the Spotify subscription and how the ad revenue things are there. Like India, what is it called? See, I don't know the name of whatever the term is called, but basically the per click rate or something, whatever, that is very low in India. It's 1/10 of what it is in the US. So cost to appear. So basically, if you have 1 million streams in the US, I know how to. I had some 300,000 streams for one song. I must have maximum made 20,000 rupees royalties from it.
Which song?
It's called Arya Tiga.
Please check it out. Okay.
So that, I think those 300,000 streams, if it would be coming from the US, then it would not be 20,000, it would be 2 lakhs. That is the difference. So it also depends on where your streams are coming from. So what Spotify does is, it has a data of everything, like who is listening to, which city are they listening from, which country they're listening from, etc. So per stream they calculate, is this listen coming from a subscribed user, or is this coming from a free dial user? So according to these things, finally it does this calculation and sends the money. Now when we are putting out songs, either we do it through label or independently. When doing independently, there are these distributors which help you. It's like online set sites are there. You can put your thing, they maybe charge an annual fee, or they charge like, they tell like, we'll take 20% of your royalties, or depends on platform to platform. And everything is calculated there. You can see like how much money is coming from the song, which country the money is coming from, all of these things. Your bag from this lane. That's how it works. So for majority of the artists, unless you are getting very huge amount of streams on a consistent basis, the royalties currently are not a viable means.
Also, if live shows are the best way to make money for a music artist, why would you be worried about AI?
Okay, so again, AI, when these things start, developments start, I'm very interested in these kind of things. Any new thing comes, I love checking it out. So I remember in 2019, some of the plugins which I was using, these mixing plugins and stuff like that, I started seeing they had started imbibing AI into it as an efficiency tool to make things faster and all that. So I was like, oh, this is damn cool. This is making my job easier. But I could kind of extrapolate. Right now it's doing this for this. I'm sure in the future they're going to do things for different things. So fast forward after COVID, etc., is when this whole chat GPT and all these things became popular. So I had tried out Midjourney and all those things when it came out. Currently, it's at the stage where in music-wise, there's this thing called Suno AI. Currently, it's at a stage where if you write, I need, suppose you are an advertiser, you need a jingle way. It's a happy, jingle in you want ukulele. You can add happy jingle ukulele, this kind of mode. It will create it and give you kata.
Full music.
Full music.
So, I mean,
Is this fired from someone? You can write that. So initially you could write that also. Now I think some pushback happened. So you cannot write like Pratik Pugad. I think you cannot use a real artist name, but you can maneuver around it. It's your prompting skills.
so you get something, but then people put their finishing touches on it, or they just take it like that.
It is like ready-made, you can get stuff. So suppose in your podcast you want an opening cues. So why is it scary for artists is because initially these are the kind of works which will come to the producer or to the composer, right? So now what happens is these are the smaller works. Like suppose I make a lot of money from studios. So there are different projects which come. Some projects could be a feature film, which should have a huge budget. Some projects could be a small short film, in which the budget could be lesser. Some project could be an ad jingle which is coming. Some project could be, I don't know, someone has composed a song, need to produce it for. So all these multiple things are there. I feel the kind of projects in which it is more business driven, money driven, like commercials, ad jingles, and stuff like that. I think the music composers who are getting work from that will not get much work in a few years. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure. The ones who will get the work, if they are coming to you, they will come to you because they want you.
The name carries.
Not as a name, like even your music style order, they want you. They want your music to be the pick. If someone goes to an A.R. Rahman, they want an A.R. Rahman song, right? So if a company wants a jingle from A.R. Rahman, now he charges a lot, right? So they go to A.R. Rahman, I want A.R. Rahman ka music on my, I want that brand name too. But how do you build yourself up to that if you don't get work? There used to be a pathway, right? Like many of the Bollywood music directors started off as jingle makers. Many of them. Like if you look at Amit Trivedi is known for so many great songs, right? He is the guy who made that Hello Honey Bahi jingle. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But awesome.
But it's so catchy, right? That is a catchy space. I'm sure Ram Sampath also has, I think, Mad. Pass on. That's Ram Sampath.
Okay.
So like this, there was a clear path. Like when you're starting off, you obviously don't have a name. You need projects to get experience and stuff like that, right? So I feel at the lower levels, when you're starting off, it is a big hit. Because at that point, you're not depending on one big project. You're depending on 10 small projects to make up the money which you can make in a month. But now I think from the 10, they'll become 3. The 3 will only come from the people who are passionate about the thing, like filmmakers and all that, who want a specific vision. But for the others who are like a corporate, उनको क्या चाहिए? They themselves don't know उनको क्या चाहिए. Many of the times when you're working with corporates, they don't know. They don't know how to explain also. They themselves don't know what they want. They're like, ऐसा कुछ चाहिए. सितार डाल दो. And then you have to figure out what to do. So now they don't need to go to the composer. They can just type it. They can get an intern to type it and present 20 options. इसमें से क्या पसंद आता? How will a composer create 20 options? So this is the difference. It becomes more efficient for them. For them, it's a bottom line which matters. So what I felt was when I first started looking at space 2019-20, I started realizing that okay, especially any technical job, any job which can be automated, will be automated 100%. Till then, the mindset was people were thinking AI is going to take over the boring jobs and leave people to make art and spend the time in more creative ways, percentage. But and the way technology basically the people who are making this tech, they're thinking from a consumer perspective. They don't care about the artist. Their goal, their mission is, this is how like Suno AI, the guy who has made his mission statement is, music making is a very complicated process. Nowadays, if you need to make music, you need to first learn this, do that. We want to simplify it. You should just be able to write it and gana bandana. So that is great for a normal person. Any normal person who suppose wanted to make a song doesn't have the bandwidth of distillers. Now it's so simple to do. The downside is what happened is then the market gets saturated with shit. So when there is so much out there, it becomes hard for someone to cut through it. So that's what I was saying. You were asking me, right? How? So before, during the previous eras, the problem was there was like these guardians who are dictating. You are not good books, we'll push your music. You mess with us, we will not show you. No one will even disturb it. So there was no other option. With the internet, that democratized, right? With social media, everything now you could do. Now we are going to the other end where it's too much.
But hold on, won't the algorithm push good stuff out, or you think the algorithm is overrated?
So again, now what is good? That is the question here. What is good for Spotify? So this is how Spotify works. What Spotify cares about is how long are you going to keep them in Spotify. So if your song is a song which people are listening to more and more, and that is keeping them in this app, then your song is great. They don't care objectively, creatively, your song is a masterpiece. They have the data, they have multiple data sets. So one thing is called skip through rate. One thing is called stream to listener ratio. And we have access to actually, we can see how our songs are performing. I have my data sets like this app is there called Spotify for artists. So you can actually see live right now how many people are listening to your music, from which cities are they listening to, what their age groups are, what are the playlists they're making which they'll add to your songs. You can see all these things. You can get to know your audience well. But from Spotify's point of view, they look at skip through rate, how many people are skipping your song. If they skip your song, means your song sucks. They see the stream per listener ratio. If your stream per listener ratio is like 7 or 8 or something, your song is extraordinary because one person heard it, but he's listening to it 7 times. So, ये गाना 3 minute का है, so they were there for 21 minutes in the app. Great song. Algorithm is push run.
But that's ridiculous. I mean, I listen to the same song every day when I work out.
Yeah. So
I listen
so
to
like you like that particular.
Really well.
So what happens is basically that particular song. If a lot of people are hearing a lot, then they will push it up in the algorithm. So they will be pushed out to more people, and it will become a feedback loop. So this is the whole system how it works. So why songs which trend on Reels get a lot of streams is because people discover that song on Reels, then they're going on Spotify and searching for the song. So Spotify is like, wow, this song is making people come to our platform and search for it. This is a brilliant song. Push it in the album. Make it reach more.
We have to unfortunately end here, but listen, I can't believe time has passed.
Yeah.
As very previously at the Cal, you must have seen us doing the song
Yes.
on a lot of shows, so I'll say it again, we must have you.
Yes.
Because you will
There's a lot to talk about. Yes.
It was such a pleasure to host you. Thank you so much.
This was my first podcast. So
great.
Pineapple Podcast, episode number 10. It is in the books, and stay tuned for episode 11. Cheers.